Welcome to the World of Ability podcast. My name is Sue Roskoff, and I am with the World of Ability podcast network. We do lots and lots of different shows and a variety of topics throughout the week, and today is World of Ability. This is our flagship program that we have the pleasure of talking with some amazing people, and today's guest I am so incredibly excited to have a chance to chat with. I'll give you a sneak preview though for later. It's a birthday today. We all know Marianne of Waikiki, a longtime friend of the show here, creative director, and it's her birthday today. So we will get a Marianne sighting later on. I know they are on their way to celebrate a bit right now, but we will be joined by her and hopefully Leon and a few others here in just a bit. But like I said, am so excited to be bringing in our featured guest today. Sharon Abbott is going to be joining us. Let me bring her up. My apologies. My computer is having some fun with me because I'm outside right now. If you can see, the lighting's a little different than usual. It is such a gorgeous day. I moved outside. But Sharon, I'm so glad to have you here. Sharon was featured on Oprah, actually, for her unique communication techniques. She has published 11 books and has helped 200 others get published. She has 20 years experience in corporate and 20 years of teaching entrepreneurs. She's launching a school in Belize for children at risk from the U.S. and is sponsoring others with funding who have humanitarian projects all over the world. Sharon, it is such a pleasure to have you joining us. How are you today?
Thank you, Sue. I'm doing great. It's an amazing day, and I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you.
Well, I love your story, just the piece here of what your history has all been. Do you want to dive in a little more as to what you've all done and what has brought you here today?
So, in the theme of the world of ability, I thought that it would be appropriate for me to start out by talking about how when I was 15 years old, I stuttered so bad that I couldn't even complete a sentence. And my English teacher made me stay after school holding my tongue while reading Shakespeare. And at the end of my junior year, I could speak without stuttering, but I noticed that I had this Southern drawl. And I'd say things like my daddy's from Texas, but I was in Northern California, so it made no
Oh
sense.
my gosh.
So I learned to articulate and slow down my speech pattern, which also helped me overcome the stuttering. And then in my senior year, I went, I'm really tired of tripping myself over my own feet. And I would walk pigeon-toed and I'd hit my left foot with my right foot and trip and fall all the time. And so I started walking like a duck. And at the end of my senior year, I was walking perfectly straight. So that set up a pattern. From the time I was 15, every year I have picked something that I could change about myself that I was not comfortable with. Believe it or not, the hardest thing was learning to say no and not have to explain it. Like, no, I really can't go pick up your dry cleaning.
Oh, I love that. Okay, we can all take some notes from this of we all have things about ourselves that we know we can do something about, right? And I love how you approach that you've picked something each year that you could do to make a change that you wanted to make for yourself.
Right,
I
right.
love that.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's really been kind of inspiring. I actually put it in the back of my sixth book, like the list of everything that I've ever done, because I kept track of them. Because I was really impressed that if you didn't like something about the way you behave, like I would never laugh out loud. And my little brother in 2008 made me watch Seinfeld. And it was the one where Kramer had taken, or Kramer and George had gone to the flea market, and Kramer was really disappointed there were no fleas at the flea market. But, but Kramer came back with all these dispensers, and they were sitting at the concert that George's girlfriend was doing a piano recital. And Jerry put a Pez dispenser on Elaine's purse, and she started laughing out loud, snorting. And I lost it. I mean, I just erupted in laughter. And for 3 days, every time I thought about that, I started laughing out loud. And literally, that was the first time I laughed out loud in my life. And I was 45 years old. And so it was like this amazing thing. So then I would look for things like I told my business group, I want people to think that I'm fun. And everybody simultaneously turned around and looked at me and go, what? You are fun. And I thought of myself being this serious, matter of fact, just really down to earth. We have to do this because of that. And I didn't realize that I had been transitioning in all that time, just kind of slowly because it was a thought in the back of my mind. So I love that, we're not stuck with who we are. We can always become someone that we want to become.
Ooh, that is huge. That whole concept you are nailing that on the head. I absolutely love that message. Oh, and I do see we have Dr. Harvey Loomstein joining us as well. I'm going to go ahead and bring him into the conversation because I think you guys are going to really enjoy having a chat here too. So, Dr. Harvey, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Sure, I can do that. I'm Dr. Harvey Loomstein, and today I'm in Dallas, Texas, where it's a little over 100 degrees.
Whew.
And on the short form, I fix, don't, it's actually not as hot as it usually gets the last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August. Anyway, I fix brains. I fix both your brains, fix the brain in your head, and I fix the brain in your gut. And when I fix the brain in your gut, I fix your immune system. And when I fix your immune system, your detox pathways start to work. And when I do that, all kinds of wonderful things happen. And here's the thing to remember. If your gut's inflamed, your brain is inflamed. That's it.
I love it. So when I was 50 years old, I had a doctor from India have me come in and do a test. So he hooked me up with rheostats. And he said, oh my God, I've never seen anybody 90% left brain. He says, you have to do something to become more balanced. So for an entire year, I started focusing on making jewelry. And a year later, I went back and I was 51% left brain.
Wow. Oh, what an interest in just a year that you can make that kind of a shift.
Yeah, because focusing on right brain activity, the creativity that I never used. I mean, I was in the third grade and my teacher came up behind me and said, girls don't draw cars, because I drew a race car. And I heard girls don't draw. So I stopped drawing. Power of suggestion. And what parents don't realize is when they're telling their kids these things, walk, don't run, you'll fall. What kids hear is you'll fall.
Oh.
And so they cooperate and they fall.
Oh, you're so right. And just that planting that seed, what part are they hearing? What, that's true. Actually, even it reminds me of as EMTs, we, for 10 years, Kurt and I were EMTs. It's been a while now, but I know even in our training, they always say, the patient, assume they can hear you, even if you don't think they can, even if they're unconscious, whatever, they can hear more than you think. So
it's one of the reasons. I really resent when doctors say, "Oh, you have 6 months to live." They told me 5 times I had 6 months to live from 2000 to 2012, and I really resent doctors even being able to say that legally, because it's not their right to tell anyone how long they have to live. And if they said, "Well, maybe if you do this or change your lifestyle," like Dr. Bernie Siegel in Bethesda, Maryland. He has a 95% cure ratio for cancer and heart patient treatments because, number one, for cancer people, he says, anything that's stressful in your life, get rid of it. I don't care if it's your job, your family, I don't care what it is, get rid of it. Because people who live in stress are more apt to have heart disease and cancer. So I had breast cancer in 2000. They gave me 6 months to live. That was one of the times. And I walked out and the doctor followed me out into the parking lot and he says, you can't ignore this. I said, I'm not going to ignore it, but I'm not going to let you torture me with chemo and radiation. He had already scheduled the radical mastectomy for Monday, and this was Thursday. And because of that, I went to an event and this woman came up to me. I didn't remember her, but she had started her business 11 years before and couldn't afford to pay for her business cards. So I gave them to her as a gift to start her business as an empath. She asked me to come to her house and she worked on me for 3 months before she said, I have one thing left. And it was the Royal Rife machine. And I took it home and used it for 16 days. 45 days later, the lab said, there's no cancer. And the doctor said, well, we made a mistake. You never had cancer. And yet they were
Not the
going to do
doctor
a
you, not the doctor you went to said that. No, no,
yeah,
no.
right.
He
Yeah.
didn't say that.
Oh, yes, he did.
Oh,
Yeah, yes, he did. And then 5 years later, he called me and he says, I need to know what you did to get rid of your cancer. And I said, well, the cancer I never had. I said, no, I'm really on the fence here. How many people have you treated over the last 5 years that didn't make it through cancer?
thousands.
And thousands of people that went through that hospital in Concord. And so he said, no, I really need to know. He says, my mother has cancer. So I told him, and you can actually buy the equipment. So I had met Ron Rockwell, who worked with Royal Rife originally, and Ron has been manufacturing the equipment. And his mother, even 10 years ago, still was alive because of the Rife machine.
He told you, maybe there was no cancer because he didn't want you to sue him.
Well, yeah, but you know,
That's why. And
doctors,
that's unusual.
well, not in my world. I mean, I have worked with so many doctors that have said some really bizarre things. Like when I was in a car accident and I woke up 4 days later paralyzed from the waist down. And the neurosurgeon said I had the weekend to make up my mind if I would be in a wheelchair or lying flat on my back because they were going to fuse L4, 5, and 6. And so, or sorry, 3, 4, and 5. And I said, I can't make this decision. And I was sitting at the table and I had the phone book open. It fell on the floor at a chiropractor's, of all things. The largest ad on the page, I called them and they came pick me up, worked on me every day for 7 days, 7 hours a day. And then about 3 months, 5 hours, 5 days a week. 5 months later, I was walking without crutches or without cane or anything. It took me 2 years to get the numbing to stop from the inside of my legs down to the inside of my feet. But imagine if I had just said, oh, okay, I'll be in a wheelchair the rest of my life. You know, I mean, and these doctors don't realize the options that they have, but see, they take an oath. They treat only with drugs, surgery, and other chemicals, right? That's their oath. And I remember I had a radio show for 2 years called Choices for a Healthier Lifestyle. And I interviewed this doctor who had invented this machine that if he hooked up 16 people, it looked like a Jules Verne metal dome. And every single person, no matter what stage cancer, no matter where it was, they were cured. But every time he turned it on, people in this white van showed up and confiscated it. So it must have emitted some kind of frequency that they could find. But he always had a backup system before he would turn it on. And all of the people that he worked on had been told they had a limited time to live. And then through this frequency work that he did, they were completely cured.
It was a version of the Rife machine.
It
and
was.
The way they did it is because it's an electromagnetic signal. I know, I've been there. And you can
Oh,
buy
cool.
Rife machines now on eBay.
On eBay, yeah, $2,500.
No.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I just had somebody 2 weeks ago got one. $2,500.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just amazing when you really dig deep. See, the thing that I think most people don't take the responsibility for their own health. And that's something that I've tried to be an advocate for. So they go to the doctor, they want a pill, they want a quick fix. You know, I don't have time to stop. And like, I wish I could remember her name, but this doctor, she had learned from her father and she did juicing. So when I had brittle diabetes in 2008, I was always hyperglycemic. But when my brother passed away in 2008, I went to total brittle diabetes. My mother was insulin dependent. My brother was insulin dependent. So I ended up finding this naturopathic doctor that had me juicing beets, carrots, cucumbers, and celery, an ounce of each, 4 times a day, no solid food. 6 weeks later, no more diabetes. That was 2008. I just did an insulin reading 94, which 90 to 125 is normal. And that was back in almost 20 years ago. So, I mean, yeah, it was hard work, juicing only, no food. That's hard. But guess what? No diabetes, no insulin, no dependency. Just imagine how freeing it is if you just want to dig in and do the work.
So much is possible when you look at what the options are. If you, rather than just taking something at face value that one person tells you, to actually
Right.
figure things out. And oh, I love it. I see we've got Olga joining us here as well. Olga, so good to see you. You want to come on in and
Hi,
say hi, introduce
everybody.
yourself?
Yes, my name is Olga Alexeyeva. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and originally from Russia. And I just got into conversation about if you want to achieve something, that you need to apply it. If you find something good for you, keep on going, because this is a topic super close to my heart. And this is my, I don't know, it's my hot spot. So thank you so much, Miss Shireen, for bringing it up. And so whenever I have a chance to share my passion with you, I'm here for.
Fantastic. And I love what Dr. Harvey does because most people don't realize your thoughts actually control how you are. Like, did you notice in The Secrets that everybody was saying, you just sit back and think about what you want? And I said to this one guy, because he really wanted a sailboat, I said, so you're going to sit on your couch and imagine that sailboat's just going to end up in your driveway? And then I talked to Michael Beckwith. I went to Agape 9/11, and I said, the one thing they missed in The Secret was telling people they had to be in action. So when you think about something that you want in your life, you have to take the action, get up off the couch and actually do something about it. And I used to train people that had been laid off from their jobs. For 20 years, I spoke at 45 different agencies throughout the San Francisco Bay Area to inspire people to become entrepreneurs because you can never be fired. Right? So you put more work into being an entrepreneur, you have more business, more income, more free time to spend with your family and do the things that you really love. But when you have a job, it's so controlling. You can't go on outings with your kids at school. You can't go to a concert because you have to stay and work. And especially in the Silicon Valley, most employees work 60 to 70 hours a week. And so they don't have time for a life. And I was really angry that people would be forced into that lifestyle. So I made a big effort to try to get people to focus on something. And there's this amazing test out of Boston. It's called the Ball Aptitude Test. It measures your innate skills. And it tells you 6 different careers you would do with the skills you're born with and combining them with the skills that you've learned. And that gives you a career that is not a job. It's just second nature to your personality.
If everybody could find the things that match themselves that closely, can you imagine what a different place this would be? How much more fun people would be, more, should I say, less stressed? All the good things that would come from that. My goodness.
Exactly.
Every high schooler needs that.
Well, yeah, I would love to have it be part of their high school education. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It
right?
used to be.
Well, it's like we've dumbed down our education. When I graduated high school, believe it or not, in 1968, I'm 75 years old. We had 90% of all the kids graduated high school. 60% went on to college. Today, not even 60% graduate high school in this country. We were third from the top of industrialized nation in our education in the United States. Today, we're third from the bottom, which is one of the things that my project is to actually take 2,000 children a year off the streets from the United States, put them through a 3-year high school program that is a trade school. By the time they're 18, they're going to have experience in every single area that is life skills, construction. We're going to take the 50s and 60s muscle cars and actually refurbish them and sell them once a year in an auction. We're going to be doing music festivals. Let me see. I say Bob Marley's Four Boys are going to be our first concert in Belize, where they're going to perform and it'll be live streamed all over the world. And because of that work, I am so privileged that I get to talk to people who have an idea for a humanitarian project, or maybe they've just started working with something that will make the world a better place, which I love that you actually, even said that, because most people who want to do something to make the world a better place, they don't know where to start and they don't have the funds. And I have access to unlimited funds for people to do humanitarian projects. So it only has to change the world to be better, improve a community, and create permanent jobs. And it starts at $25 million, no fee to qualify, and never pay back that 25 million. I've had people, like there's this one training program out of Florida that they're going to Ghana and educating the young kids in Africa. And they started out 80 million. They're now at 344 million because they can expand it in any community they want throughout Ghana. And imagine if you have the training programs. And I said, well, that's really good, training the kids, but they have to have a job. And like in Nigeria, 92% unemployment rate. So you have to have something for people to do, right? So now I'm bringing in things like manufacturing and then training people in that manufacturing and being able to have healthcare for people who never have had healthcare available to them all over the world. So it is really amazing that these funds are available. And they come with clear and clean certificates. So it comes from a humanitarian project that was started right after World War II. And so I love the fact that people can now do something to change the world to be a better place, one project at a time. I'm sponsoring 200 projects so far since January, and 80 of them happen to be in Africa.
Wow.
Well, that's the place that we've got to start working, because everything else is used up.
Well, imagine this. Today, somebody sent me a video, and there has been a revolution going on in Africa that started back in the 80s, but they assassinated the man who started it in the 80s. And now quietly in all the countries surrounding where he began, they've been quietly going after this, where that most of the resources in Africa are taken to China, India, Dubai, United States, England. And so people have been slowly, quietly in the background going, you're not taking our resources, they're staying here. So when China went to Ghana and they did oil mining, right, drilling, they gave the government of Ghana 5% and then have the nerve to sell back that oil at a premium for people to use in Ghana. It's so upside down. Today, the world gross national product for all of Africa is 3%. And in 5 years, it'll be 20% because of these people who are going to be doing these humanitarian projects.
Wow. Well, and I'm familiar with a refugee camp that's in Kenya right now. On Saturday mornings, we actually live stream for them because they have this youth project that they do there. There's a gentleman that helps do some education, do recreation, does different things with the youth in that refugee camp. And they've been working through Spirit of the Game Foundation to help get the word out. And that's where literally this morning, 8:30 a.m., we were live streaming for them so that the world can see that they're doing what they can with what they have. And it's tough because they're also relying on like the guy who happens to have a portable speaker that has the the volume for the music they need so that the students can do their dancing and do the different things they're doing. And literally part of what we were watching this morning is they're rewiring the one speaker because it wasn't working. It's like, oh my gosh, they they're relying on that guy showing up with his honestly kind of junky speaker that barely works, but it makes all the difference for a huge group of people in this refugee camp. Like, how do you get a speaker to that? It's one of those, how do we help them more than we are? Because there's that type of thing all over the place. There's need
All over the
and
world. Yeah,
all over the world.
absolutely over the world. So that would be a perfect project for me to actually position for humanitarian funding. So it's not just like they have these refugee camps, but how about housing? I have a person out of Austin who's building housing in Uganda, and it's $50 a square foot out of hempcrete that he manufactures. He can teach 12 years old how to build an entire house in one day, 6 kids. And then he can take and drop all the utilities into that house, which is a smart house, so it generates its own utilities. Can you imagine that? So they can sell back the excess energy and make income off of their own house. So then put schools, like this one woman I met, she's in New York, she's a school teacher, and she's been sponsoring the school in Kenya. She retired this year, and she said she didn't have the money to continue to sponsor the kids on retirement. I said, so let's buy some land, plant hemp, buy the equipment to harvest the hemp, buy the equipment to process it, excuse me, and then have adults learn how to design and manufacture clothing and shoes and hats and belts and backpacks, and then hire a team that work for her specifically to push these products out into the world. So the marketing and the sales and the distribution, and the kids can go to school right there. They're living there, and their parents have a job now in a decent house. And she can add medical services that will keep people healthier because they're not going to be eating all this tofu. We've seen the kids with the distended stomachs. That's because they eat too much tofu, and it just bloats them because they're not getting the proper nutrition. So there's all these different aspects, even stores that they'll have all in this one self-sustaining village because this one teacher wanted to help a school.
Oh, I love the projects that you're doing. So in your career path, how did you come to this place where you're able to make this kind of difference for others? I absolutely love it. It's something that a lot of people aspire to, but to actually get to that point where you can do this, I am in awe. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. It's been a long road. In 2000, my brother Tony, who had colon cancer, he was given 6 months to live. But what I had learned from myself having Epstein-Barr virus, we got 10 years. But in 2000, we were having Christmas dinner, and he leans back and he says, Sharon, we have to do something to help kids living on the streets who don't have a sister like you. And it just like, oh my God, I didn't even know he was that conscious. So we started planning this school, and from 2000 to 2012, I had 8 different people who stepped forward and said they wanted to fund the school, but they all disappeared. The last one, the IMF froze the funding the day before I was supposed to leave for Zurich and sign on the bank account. The day before. Wow. And I was heartbroken, and I said, oh my God, I'm not going to go through this again. So 6 months later, my broker said, since I sold my house, my car, my business, and everything, why not look at foreign currency? And so there's this global currency reset that's going to be happening, and you can actually get Zimbabwe Zim, I have been managing a group since 2016, and the Zimbabwe Zim is $300, but that $100 trillion note that only buys a loaf of bread today will be worth $11 million when the global currency reset happens. So that's
Wow.
one of the things that, I've been working on for 10 years. And then because of that, the people that I've met, amazing people, because I've got these 200 people who are thinking forward and what can they do to have projects change the world. And so the people they meet, they introduce me, and because of this person and that person, next thing I know, I've been asked to be a sponsor for these humanitarian projects. So I was going to do just the school in Belize, but the humanitarian group for Prosperity Package asked if I would submit my project. So I'm now going to be doing my school in 21 countries in 10 years. So the second school is in Australia for the Aboriginal children, which is being sponsored and led by the kids that were taken away from their families by the English government when they went into Australia and ripped all of the children out of the homes and said, you can't even go back and see your family until you're 18.
And just like we do in this country, right? I'm sorry. I should.
We take kids away from families.
Sure, we do.
Where?
All the time. All the time.
Where?
Poor neighborhoods and refugees.
I know that there's been a lot of children who had come across the border up until President Trump's term that were brought across the border specifically for sex trade, but I've not really, and I'm very familiar with a lot of things that happen with kids in this country, and I've never heard of anybody going in and taking kids away from their families. What
do you think? What do you think is happening right now?
Well, I'm not aware.
What they've got 3-week-old babies in these centers. Well,
if they don't have family, I understand that. Right now,
no, they have family. The mother's in another center.
Now in the United States, we have 200,000 children ready to be adopted that are in the correction facilities for youth. And we have 50% less beds in the juvenile halls than we have kids in the juvenile halls. So, there's a lot of things that are injustices, and a lot of them don't come to light. Like there was under the Getty Museum, nobody really realizes this in LA. It's 12 stories down. There's a castle. And the US military went down and rescued 250,000 children that were in cages under the Getty Museum. And they were using these kids, selling them for sex trade. And so we don't know all the things that are going on, but I was really involved in intel that most people would never even hear of these things going on around the world. And I would talk to people from the IMF, from the International Court of Justice, from MI6, from CIA, FBI, US Treasury, Chinese Treasury, every week. And then 22 of us would get together every day, every single day, even holidays, and talk about what they had found out that was going on in the world. And none of this information ever hit mainstream news. No one ever covered the things that were going on in your own backyard.
Amazing. Amazing. Oh, well, Olga, I see a note you put in there. You're welcome to share what's all happening in with what you're doing right now. Because actually, catch me up real quick before you go with what your project is that you're working on right now.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Ms. Shireen, for your overview, and Dr. Harvey for your. We have enormous amount of kids in America illiterate. And when people speaking about going and bringing education to other countries, I'm always thinking, what about America? What about our education? I came from Russia 35 years ago. And I was amazed how shallow education here that time. Now it's even worse with the phones and AI and everything. And now kids rely on AI. They don't want to learn anything. And their nervous system and their brain get dry out. And people even more looking for convenience, for comfort, and they don't like any kind of, I don't want to say resistance, but any kind of challenges, because only with the challenges somebody will grow. But when we just do everything for kids and actually for anybody, just to help them, we actually handicap them. So I'm really concerned about education in America. I wish somebody would put some good projects to get education up and then bring education, I mean, classical education to schools, not a politically driven, some BS to schools. So I think this is would be a great project. So
I met this man that you might want to meet. His name is Robert Stone, and his curriculum actually increases a grade point average of every student that uses his curriculum by a minimum of 1 point. So B students become A students, C students become B students. And the schools turned down the education because they couldn't afford to buy the material to keep up with the education.
Well,
didn't even give the parents an option to contribute for it.
So what point I want to make, that if we want to be happy, if we want to be successful in life, we have to reteach our brain and our behavior, redirect from the old stories to a new story. And that's what I'm working now on, that we have a good news and bad news. And bad news is that people still kind of bitching about this is not good and this is not good. But when we look around, I'm looking at I spoke to my friend in Russia, in Ukraine. I grew up in Ukraine myself. I came to this country in 91 with no language. I started from bottom. Then I opened a gallery, art gallery, was a gallery owner for 16 years. And then, but COVID closed that. I wrote the book, and now I am developing my program, the Human Energy Room, how to thrive in the age of AI, how to bring up humanity up, how not to fight with AI or compete with AI, how not to have anxiety about this, because our life is short and we need to have happiness that was promised us at the fact of our birth. And what I found out, that happiness is not given or not achieved. It could be built. And when we have a structure to build our happiness, then it's up to people to take that road or not. And most of people taking easy street. But easy street will not bring you anywhere, because it's all new, takes friction. And I'm teaching people, if you want to be really happy in your life, you can rebuild it, dump the old habits that brought you to that destruction, and recreate a new habits. That takes a time, and the most important, repetition, application, because people going to the motivational seminars, they get motivated, get so excited for a day or two, and then go back. So if we don't apply daily, whether you want or not, knowing what is it going to bring you, if you are not going to win over your old default program of your mind, then you're going to lose the life.
Olga,
And
Olga,
yes,
why did you leave Russia?
say it again.
Why did you leave Russia? Mother Russia.
This question always put me in like I'm sitting on a porcupine.
Mhm.
That's my feeling.
Let me try it a different way.
Okay.
What you've seen happen in this country up until the last 2 years has been a well orchestrated, well funded movement by far right wing Christian, what they call Christian nationalists. And this actually started in 1936. It started before that, but once they came up with Social Security, that was it. Man, we're not going to have that. And so what you've seen since Trump has been in, Trump became their mouthpiece. And since he's been in now, we created a country that looks like Russia. And the only thing that stops Trump are the courts. There's nothing else to stop him. So until the people come together and vote, he'll keep going. And so what you're seeing now is the fact that people are really getting animated and activated, and they're going out demonstrating, and they're being told that, I mean, things are even so bad that Fox News can't always back Trump. Things are so bad for Trump that even Fox News can't back him. And so what you see, there's been a process, and that process has to do with education. And it started in the local school board. And you had people take over the local school boards. And eventually, yeah, you're right, education was dumbed down. Believe me, I see that in looking at kids today and from when I was in high school. We had 606 kids in our school, and 15% of us went on to college, and 30% of those, or 40%, went on to get advanced degrees. There's one guy who's a federal judge. Now that's really big time. Probably more than that now go to college. The problem is, what do they get? And they're not getting jobs. We're not letting people go to be plumbers and welders and carpenters, which we desperately need now. So you have to understand there was a political movement here, and that movement is being challenged and has been challenged since Obama came. So fear not. I think you're going to see those changes happen. Maybe not in Texas, but you're going to see them happen in other places.
Well, I don't want to go into that rabbit hole
It's not a
because
rabbit hole.
it is rabbit hole. It is, your opinion, my opinion, anything in between. I'm not talking about politics, leading people, because 80% of people, they're not gonna get together. These people,
that's the problem,
no,
right
this
there.
is problem of humanity. It's not problem of America. It's everywhere.
right.
It's Russia, everywhere. There's always leadership and always masses. And you cannot do anything about that. It's humanity, because 80% of people, they don't give a damn. They just don't give a damn. They just want to be quiet.
Until it affects them. And then they give a damn.
It might take longer than your lifetime. And for right now, with whatever we can do to help people who want help, and I stress out, who want help, because most of people, they don't want to help. They just want to whine. They just want to bitch about stuff. They just want to, you know what I mean?
And just repeat what they've heard, yes, instead of
exactly.
thinking through.
They can think. They have no ideas, their own ideas. They repeat what they hear, and it depends on which side of fence they are. And so that's why I'll call it rabbit hole. I don't want to go into that, and so let's just leave it alone. But what I'm saying is,
Well,
if
I'll tell
people
you what, if
wanna
you ever decide you do, I'll be happy to prevent you to give you all the literature and all the stuff that's been written by history that's out there you can read and see how this is developed.
You know, it's
know what?
interesting. You can find in history a viewpoint from every viewpoint side. So people write things. It's like it doesn't matter what your point of view or my point of view is. This is probably not an appropriate place to be discussing politics. This is,
Exactly.
this is a place where we're talking about how we can help people develop
Exactly.
things that are
And
more
you know what?
positive.
I want to help people too, but the problem is you have to have a structure to be able to help.
No, you don't.
Oh,
No, you don't.
God, yes, you do.
No, you don't. You know what? Nobody gave me a structure. I dug my heels in and I said, okay, I'm going to change what I don't like.
You paid for your structure.
No, I didn't pay for my structure. It might have cost me hours, but I didn't have to rely on anybody. I didn't have to go to get permission from anyone. I can make the changes I want to see in the world. And that's what people don't understand. You can sit there and complain about what's going on, but unless you get up out of that chair, but you are complaining.
Oh, no. No, I am observing.
No,
So you see, when we're talking about
you're repeating the rhetoric.
When we're talking about
I'm repeating
structure,
the rhetoric. I've lived the rhetoric, dear. I've lived the rhetoric.
So I lived in structure. Okay, just
and
let
so
me.
Did you.
Exactly.
I lived in structure most of my life.
Yep.
I know what's the structure. I know how, because my father, he was an engineer, and in order for him to even to grow in his profession, he must be in the Communist Party. He must be the atheist. I was baptized in secret. I know everything. As a matter of fact, Sue, I just had recorded a podcast about my life, because I have a book, From Russia to America. By the way, I would recommend you to read that because I have a lot of historical truth in it, because this is my life, how I lived. And that I will send to you, Sue, for you just to see if you would like me to talk about it. But anyway, I was in that structure when we had a face value and we had the inner survival methods, how people could survive. And I know for sure that, well, again, I have to touch it, that socialism don't work and never will.
Right.
So whatever you can just tear your hair, I'm telling you, that shit don't work. And so,
Exactly.
sorry.
No,
So
you have
anyway,
a great
but
point of
I've
view,
been in a structure.
I admire, Olga, that you actually were brave enough to think about picking up and moving to another country because you wanted a better life.
This is another story. That's why when anybody asked me, I had a gallery for 16 years, and everybody go, did you choose come to Nashville? Because you don't know how hard it is to leave my country and how hard it is to go over the American embassy who would accept you. American embassy, when I went over there to get a permission for 6 months to visit my sister. They did not allow my son to go with me. They left him as a collateral for me to come back. Don't talk about structure. I know that. That
wasn't the Americans. That was the Russians.
No, it was American. It was American. They didn't want. What do you mean? No, I was in the line. You didn't. You were not there. I was there. So many people, they were standing there.
The American embassy said to you, you can come, but your son can't. He has to stay in Russia.
Exactly.
That's right.
For me to come back. Well,
yeah, that you come back to Russia.
I came back to Russia in a year to pick him up because I had to naturalize myself and do all this stuff. You see what I mean? My friend, I want to tell you, my friend, she did not have any ties in America. And so she decided to go as a tourist to Mexico, and she submitted herself in a jail because she wanted to defect. And she paid for the attorneys and so on and so forth till they just won her case, and she was able to be eligibly eligible to America. She went to jail in purpose because was only whole for her.
Yeah.
Don't tell me how people are struggling to get here to the land of freedom and opportunity, because compared to other places, it is the land of freedom and opportunity. Still, even with everything what's going on, it's still better than anywhere else.
Yeah. So
thank you very much. And thank you very much. Read
Olga,
my book,
I
Harvey. Dr. Harvey, read my book, From Russia to America, on Amazon.
No, I love your story.
And I can tell you even more about that.
I've actually met a lot of people who have immigrated, and it's really very admirable of you to do what you've done, Olga, and I applaud you for it. It's just, I think about my ancestors. My great-great-grandfather and my great-great-grandmother fell in love. He was the head of council in Munich. She was the handmaiden, second in line for queen in Spain, and they were denied wedding vows. And so they ended up jumping on two separate clipper ships, met in Mexico City, got married there, and then ended up in Tennessee on a cotton plantation, that's where the family began in the United States. And that goes back to the early 1800s. Imagine having to come on a clipper ship, let alone, not knowing anybody. And it's what Olga went through to come to another country to start a new life. And it was one of the things that I worked with people all over the Bay Area. This one woman that I met from China, she came here with $20 in her pocket. She was a nurse in China, had to go back and get recertified as a nurse, re-educated. She worked 3 jobs. They were all fast food places, but she worked 3 jobs to have enough money to do this. And in 6 months, she not only had her nursing credential in California, but she had enough money to bring her brother. And then she bought a house a year and a half after she came to this country. And she made that house into an ambulatory care for seniors. In 6 years, she had 6 houses, 2 sisters and 2 brothers managing each of the houses, and her income was $35,000 a month. This is the land that you can do dreams come true.
Exactly. Ms. Sharon, I'm so sorry I have to go. I left my phone number in the chat. Ms. Sharon, Sharon, right? So just go ahead and connect with me, because we might I'm looking for speaking opportunity. I'm looking for the stages, because I need to bring the truth, and especially for young people, because it's our future. And Mr. Harvey, please get my book, From Russia to America, on Amazon, easy breezy. Talk to me. And if you were not here anywhere on a place, never tell that you don't believe in it. You cannot believe in it because you don't know. But I've been there. I know that. And I'm always going to overcome your disbelief. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Great to meet you, Olga. We'll talk.
Yeah.
What a firecracker.
It's great. It's great when you're given the opportunity. And that's what this country offers you for now. But it's only an opportunity if it matches with their requirements.
I disagree with you, Harvey, because I've met people that nobody said, oh, only if you do this, or only if you're this old or that old or this color. It doesn't matter. When I've met people like the woman from China who came here who had nothing but $20 and completely changed her whole family's life. People like that I have met. This young man who came from Mexico because he couldn't get a job in Mexico, and he was working for a landscaping company, and he was making under minimum wage. And I said, you do such a great job. I made him business cards. I said, I want you to go knocking on doors until you have your own clients. And within 6 months, he was making $3,000 a month, so he could send $2,000 a month back to his family in Mexico. Right. Everybody has an opportunity in this country. No, doesn't matter where they came from. They have to come in legally. I really believe in that.
Do you still know that guy now? Do you know him?
No, I lost track of him.
Because what you would want to do, and I got to go too. I've got a meeting coming up at 2:15. what you'd want to do is you want to say, hey, Jose, that's his name. Do you worry being out on the street doing gardening now that somebody's going to come along and put a bag over your head and throw you in a car and take you back to wherever? Oh, don't shake your head no, Sharon. For God's sakes, 200,000 people.
Those instances are so few and far between, and they're usually because somebody reports that somebody is here illegal.
I know that's Fox News. Thank you. When you quit watching Fox News and
when you
go
quit
look at the other
watching mainstream media, you'll stop
I don't
being
watch
brainwashed.
mainstream media. Quit watching Fox News.
I
and
don't
you'll
watch
see.
Fox News.
Then you watch News Nation.
No, I don't. Oh,
Oh, I think I lost him.
well, it's just like when people make these blanket statements and they don't know what's really going on in the world, right? Every day I'm working with people all over the world. There is not a country that's any better than this country. And for anyone to complain about our presidency, I don't see Harvey running for president.
And everyone has their own story, how they get to where they are. It's something
Yes.
I know his heart's in the right place. I know with so much of what he's doing.
Well, with what he's doing, sure it is.
Yeah.
But to judge other people, when people complain about President Trump, and I try to ask them why, because they can't say anything factual. All they can repeat is what they've heard in mainstream media, which is so biased. It's owned by 8 people in the world control what we hear in mainstream media. You know, we have to go out and look at what is real. Look at the facts. What has President Trump done? What did Biden do? What did Obama do? Did you know that Obama sold the Grand Canyon mineral rights to China? Did you know that Obama sold San Pedro Harbor to China? How could we have a harbor controlled by a foreign country? Did you know that the Chinese own more land in the United States than anyone? And Bill Gates owns the second highest so that he can eliminate farming. You know, those are facts.
Wow. And I think about the huge, vast amount of information out there, and nobody can possibly know all the things to be able to really, that's part of, when we're talking news, I've quite honestly unplugged from a lot of it. We do a lot that we have here, a world of ability. We want to share good news. We want to share great things that are happening out in the world and introduce people to, that's where we're having this chance to have a conversation with you here today. If it wasn't for doing this, we wouldn't have had this opportunity, and I'm grateful.
And I resent people just complaining. You know, get up and change it. If you don't like what is, you take the responsibility. I was very fortunate. I spoke on 7 cruises, which is the greatest way to take a vacation, in my opinion. And this man came up to me and asked me if I would listen to his presentation on the ship, and I did, and it was a political activism presentation. And I asked him afterwards, I said, what do you do in your own community? Do you go out and do you read to seniors? Do you help kids? You know, do you go to a library and read to school kids that don't have anybody to read to them? What do you do in your own community? He goes, I don't have time for that. You know, people would rather complain and stir up people than actually do something positive. And I think that's what, people like Harvey don't understand. I don't care how much you complain, it doesn't change a darn thing. You have to be in action and do something about it.
Yeah. And I know even talking education, I think about, where I am, I feel very spoiled. We have a great community here. It's not perfect. No place is perfect. I mean, how do you even, how does that even exist? Because everybody has a different idea of what is perfect. What is that, right? But you got to have hopefully enough people to have things in the right places, oh my gosh, I talking rabbit holes. I feel like I easily can go down those, because truly,
it's very easy to, yeah.
As long as there's success happening, success breeds success, and keep things going in that right direction. And as long as it's in the student best interest versus whoever the administrator is, that keeping the priority is hard to do.
In
But it's
today's education, it makes more sense for homeschooling. So kids are actually a
yeah,
grade point ahead, like an entire grade ahead. A 10th grader in public school is actually more like a ninth grader. And kids that are home educated are more like 11th graders in the 10th grade. So, we can do something about the things that we don't like, or we can just sit there and complain about them. And that's the thing that really bothers me is when people just want to repeat stuff that they've heard and sound like they want to sound like they know what they're talking about. But until you've actually walked in the shoes of someone, I don't think you have a right to complain about them. There's not a person on this earth who has deserved the right to judge another person.
it's always being kind, always being the helper. Somebody told me that years ago. It's like, look for the helpers. If there's something going on where I think back to my emergency training and whatnot. Always look for the helpers because they're there. Those that are running
Yeah.
in to make a difference versus running away because they're scared. Whatever's going on. There's obviously something there, but
The
the
fight or
helpers are
flight. Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Fight or flight. And, it's like I look for people who are in the fight,
Yeah.
because those are the people who are going to make the change that we want to see. The
Yes.
people who are in flight that want to sit back and complain and not have anything to do but put their feet up and watch TV, those are not the people who are making the changes. And people have asked me, what makes me think I could do this school? And my answer is, what makes you think I can't? Right? It's a person,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody says, well, that is such a huge project because I'll have 23,000 employees just in Belize. And everyone goes,
Wow.
why? And I go, because it's not just a school for kids at risk. Do you know that in Belize they have a 52% unemployment rate, but a person with a master's degree is making $1,200 a month US in a call center because that's the only job they can get. So my school, minimum wage $2,500 a month US. That doubles what they're making, but they get a house and their food on top of it.
Wow.
Why would we create an environment where people have to live through stress? If you want a real eye opener, go on public transportation and look to see how many people are engaged and how many people have just checked out. They have no light in their eyes. They have no response to anything around them. They just exist. I call them the walking dead. These are the people who really have nothing in their lives that matters to them. Maybe their family, but they're stuck because nobody has given them permission to break out of that mold.
It totally reminds me too of another organization we work with. So Project Die Hard is an organization. It's about our veterans and exists because veteran suicide is so horrible. The number of vets that we lose
Ridiculous.
daily.
Yes. Yeah, it's ridiculous. How could you be a veteran and not be able to afford a house? How could you be a veteran and not be able to afford health care?
To get
You know,
whatever that help is you need. Yep.
Yeah. All right. The mental thing, like Michael Daughter is not a veteran, but he played for the Oakland Raiders. And he has so much brain damage that he has a hard time keeping a job. So he's working multi-level marketing most of the time because you don't have to show up at 8 o'clock and stay there all day. But he's had some amazing people around him who have helped guide him through a career of multi-level marketing. And he, to me, was like the poster child for like the veterans that come back and they don't have anybody, right? They just nobody to turn to. I worked in San Pedro at the lighthouse when my husband was in the Navy, and this was for people who came back paraplegic, quadriplegic. And my job was to write the letters, read the letters because they couldn't even hold the letters.
Wow.
Quadriplegic. And after about 3 weeks, I'd go home and I'd have a straight vodka. And that was the only way I could like bring myself back down to earth. Well, after 2 months, I was having 3 vodkas a night. And I went in and I told my boss, I said, as much as I love helping these people, this is not my makeup. I cannot do this. It was a mother and father who came out to see their son to tell him he was no longer their son because he was a quadriplegic. And it broke my heart.
Oh my gosh.
it just broke my heart. And I could not deal with that level of emotional trauma. So when I look at the people like a week ago, I met this young man, Ashkat. He and his father are in India, and they work with what they call pickers. These people have to dig through these mountains of trash to find enough to resell every day to have $3 to buy food for their families. Can you imagine? 6 million people in Calcutta, India. That's how they live. And so we're building a project for them that will start in about 9 months, where we can house in place 6 million people, create jobs, create housing, create education, create schools and hospitals and stores and everything so these people can have a decent lifestyle. You know, that's the difference between getting up and making something happen or just complaining and repeating rhetoric that doesn't matter at all. You know, I know a lot of bad things. If I focus on telling other people what all those bad things are, what good does it do? So people have to be in action. When you don't like something about your way of life, and believe me, I have gone through so many things, like I said, about changing my habits every single year. You know, it started with the stuttering, but every year I realized that there were certain things about my personality that I wasn't happy with. They might have been learned by defense mechanisms. Like, you know, the bully at school is bullied at home, right?
Yeah.
So we know that there are triggers. And so if we just look at behavior patterns of people, we can understand why people are the way they are. But when I look at someone who is educated and capable and has the ability to make the world a better place and they do nothing, I don't have any time for them. I really don't. It's like if we were put here on earth to just sit back and complain, to me, that's a waste of life. We are
There's
given the ability to stand up and say, like in that movie in the 70s, I'm mad as hell. I'm not taking it anymore. I'm making a difference. And wouldn't it be great if everybody could inspire to do one thing that would make a difference in their life?
Ugh, what a different world it would be if everybody could find that and to get to that place. Because and it's not easy. Everybody, oh, I think of everybody's had a different life. Everybody's walk is unique. No two people have the same story, the same
No,
experience.
but I often told people I would have rathered my parents divorced than stayed together because of
Wow.
the violence, because of, I mean, it was a volatile household. They didn't miss a single abuse. They even made stuff up to be more abusive. And when my brother was 15 years old, I took him away from my parents and I was only 24, but I couldn't watch him be tormented by my mother anymore. And if I
Wow.
hadn't done that, I don't know what would have happened to him because boys react different from that kind of treatment. You know, there's that rebound effect. For me, I went quiet. My sister became angry and an alcoholic. My other brother became an alcoholic and drug addict. And I didn't want my younger brother, who was adopted, to follow that pattern. So I took him away from my parents. At 24, I had no idea what I was getting into. And somehow we got through it. And the school was actually dedicated to him because he made a difference in every person's life he ever met. He was like total stranger walk into a room with 200 people and he'd walk out 2 hours later and everybody in that room thought he was their best friend. He was that kind of guy, you know,
What a
just
gift.
make everybody feel great about who they were. And I
Set up your
admire
surprise
that.
settings. What the fuck is that?
I'm sorry?
We have a book trailer to show, and Leon
Oh.
should joining us at 12:30. So I wanted to know if you could show the book trailer, and I would be happy to read the first chapter, or one pager of Pono the Hawaiian Polo Pony out on the polo field in North Shore, Oahu, Hawaii.
Wonderful title.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, give me just a quick second here. I will go ahead and pull up our book trailer and that is something we've been doing. We're on we've previously read a chapter a week for quite some time. We took the summer off and today is our first day reading from Righteous Acts of Kindness, and I'm excited to get a chance to get the insight here. Let me go ahead and share with everybody the book trailer for this book.
Join Pono, the Hawaiian polo pony, for a fun-filled week in Hawaii. From cheering on his parents at a polo match to learning sign language to help his new friend Keoki, a deaf boy, Pono discovers the true meaning of kindness. With guidance from Auntie Haunani, Pono learns how to be a hero in his own way, bringing smiles and aloha wherever he goes. Featuring Lucy Lynch's uplifting Hawaiian blessing, Go Out and Play. A joyful sing-along that inspires kids to live with love, laughter, and purpose. Includes rainbow-themed coloring pages and fun hands-on activities. Plus, go out and play the Apple app games today. And don't forget to grab your Pono the Hawaiian Polo Pony t-shirt. All U.S. classroom teachers can request copies for every student through DonorsChoose.org. Support a classroom. Build a future. Get your copy today. Available now on Amazon and at actofkindnessseries.com. Want you to know that I am here to love you and to support your spirit on its way.
Excellent. Oh my goodness. So that is the book trailer here for Marianne's book. So Marianne, I'm just going to check and see here if you are in a place. I know Santa Papa John, we were hoping would be here to read the chapter, but Marianne, is that something you would like to do now? Let's give her just a moment here to come on back. It is her birthday, and I know they were out celebrating, so she's taking time from celebrations with friends there to join us. And what? Oh, there we go. I think we've got Marianne.
Yeah, we're here. We're here. We're at Denny's, and Denny's restaurants in Texas is showcasing these books.
Mhm.
And so grateful. There's a photo of it. We talked with the manager here. We were trying to get a hold of the general manager. We can't do anything and interview them, but we wanted to give a big shout out that they were showcasing the book trailers in Denny's restaurants in Texas and soon to be in Las Vegas with Helene. And so I'm going to read the chapter here and see if I was going to hang on a second. I got to.
And it's through the nonprofit TV that all those different locations in Texas and soon to be also in Las Vegas. There's a whole bunch of locations with TV screens, and they are with the organization is Nonprofit TV, and they do amazing things showcasing our programming. Actually, they showcase what we just showed there that is with Marianne's book trailers, and they're all about sharing out the good news and actually sharing with what you all do. I'm kind of curious if there'd be a good connecting point with anything that you guys are doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Kurt's on the board with Nonprofit TV, so if we want to continue that conversation at some point here and see what other connecting we can do, I would love that.
Okay, so there's are the ponies there, Mama Lake, Papa Lono, Pono the Polo Pony, and Solo. And on Sunday, Pono the pony was born in the springtime at the Dillingham Ranch on the Hawaiian island of Oahu. To be a pony growing up in Hawaii is a very special blessing indeed. Pono is Hawaiian word that means righteous and treating each other after with respect. He felt proud to carry his name, the Hawaii state motto, Uma Mau E Iko Ka Aina. Pono means that's the life of the land and its perpetrated of in righteousness. Pono's mother, Laka, and his father, Lono, were part of a very prestigious team that participated in the sport of polo. Polo is a game played with competing teams riding on horseback using mallets with long, flexible handles to drive wooden ball through gold posts. Every Sunday, Laka and Lono played polo with some of the finest athletes on the island in the fields of Molokai along the North Shore. During these matches, Pono and his sister Solo would watch the games and dream of the day when they too could participate. That's chapter 1. That's a Sunday fun day.
I love it.
Today is super birthday Saturday. We were going to go to AT&T. We're going to go to Home Depot to buy a fan, a ceiling fan. I have 2 of them, Dole ceiling fans, and we're going to get an Arizona State ID. We was hoping to meet up with Derek Espinoza, but we couldn't connect with him. He's up here in Tucson, maybe next time. And yeah, so Leon should be joining us as well. Clean Water Foundation. So we want to give a big shout out to Dr. Anthony Sardelli, nonprofit TV in Texas, who's showcasing these book trailers in Denny's restaurants, and soon to be in there's Denny's restaurants there, and soon to be in Las Vegas, according to Helene. So we're paying it forward again. It's back to school season, and all classroom teachers can get copies of the books from donorschoose.org. And so go out and play is our tagline. And wow.
So go to Baskin and Robbins and get a free ice cream.
Oh, yes. Got to take advantage of all the fun things you can do on your birthday when you're out and about.
Freebies. Yeah, I think 7-Eleven, you can get a free hot dog.
Yeah, we got all these places to go. Whataburger and
yeah,
and the Olive Garden and the casino.
Yeah, you get a free dessert at Olive Garden. Yeah.
The casino have a $7.77 buffet. So, but I don't gamble anyway. Yep, we're gonna go out and play. We do our shop. We hang out at Walmart, and yeah, and that's it. We're gonna get our second shingle shot. We're gonna get an Arizona State ID. So all my United Healthcare is shifted over here because it's closer than Hawaii at the time. And Captain Robert, he is in the Bahia, it's called Siga Cortez. And yeah, that's where he's at. So anyway, we'll be heading back to San Carlos and still recovering from my eyelid surgery. So there you go. That's what's going on. We're taking care of business. A retired veterans nurse. Say hi, Carla.
Hello, how you doing today? Just had a
Hi,
great
Carla.
at Denny's and listening to Marianne promote her book. It's very cute. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, we're retired and we're spending money as we usually do. Walmart.
And
And
you got a free breakfast.
I got a free breakfast. Yeah. And I got some free Metamucil too from my hair salonist. Yeah, I needed it according to the doctor because of the eye patch and cholesterol. He recommended that taking that. So anyway, body shifts. Body's not a wonderland anymore. So anyway, all this started a decade ago. So I'm so grateful to be on this planet and share the good news. And you are its messenger. Adios. Aloha.
Excellent. Aloha, Marianne. You're amazing. We celebrate you today. Everybody gets their special day every year, and yours happens to fall on World of Ability, which is perfect.
Yeah. What a great day to have a birthday.
Yeah. Love it. Amazing. Oh, well, and I'm hopeful. She was saying that Leon should be joining us as well. I know we saw his picture on the end of the trailer there. He does actually, he's another one, Sharon, I think you would really enjoy connecting with. He's made a difference with providing clean water across the world, actually. What he's done with water filters and truly making a difference, saw a need and did a lot of something. So he's
yeah, and I would love to meet Kurt. I have my next book is called The Adventures of Master Pineapple. And it's a dream that I had that I got up and I wrote the whole dream out. And it's these 6 kids who have cancer in their cancer treatment center, and they go off to a beach across the street because they've never touched the sand. And so they wanted to walk on the sandy beach, and they're spotted by Mr. Ruffy and Mr. Tuffy, who Mr. Tuffy goes down to pick up the kids and this whole adventure. And at the end of the story, Master Pineapple's parents come to the treatment center, and the nurse says, you know, go down and see your parents. And the mom is crying, and she says, you get to come home with us. And he said, Mom, you told me I'd never get to come home. And she says, honey, your cancer's gone. And
Oh.
it's just, I want to get the book out to children's hospitals all over the world. Just donate them to the hospitals, but I'm trying to find somebody to help finish the artwork. But 3 artists, I paid $4,500 so far, and then the artists disappear.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So
Oh,
I've only got about half the artwork done, but it's just absolutely gorgeous.
amazing. Actually, you're making me think of a gentleman that's been on here. It's been a while since he joined us, but he is uh oh my gosh, I'd have to pull him back up here on my screen to make sure I repeat his details correctly. But Matt Harling is an artist, and actually I wonder if he might be a good connection for you, because he is a amazing artist, and his story too is extremely unique. Let's see, I gotta get signed in. Well, and I know you've written more books. You want to tell us a little bit more about some of the other books that you've written?
Right. So the first book, I found out that there was going to be an entrepreneur trade show. And so I called the event organizer and I said, I want to be a speaker because I've been training entrepreneurs for, you know, I mean, it was 10 years at that point. And he says, well, what's the name of your book? I said, I don't have a book. And he said, well, then you can't be a speaker. And I said, this was January. I said, so when's your event? And he said, June. I said, okay, I'll have a book. It's called Mixing It Up.
I love it.
So I did the book based on the articles that I had written in my newsletters. And it's like the worst way to write a book. But I picked the book up on June 3rd, the day of the event, and drove to Sacramento and was the speaker. And the man who was responsible for taking Midas Muffler to Europe after he heard me speaking, he came up to me and he said, Midas Muffler would have been a totally different company if we had known about you then. And so it's the idea of how people can use their business community to get all of their business rather than doing marketing and advertising in the expensive way, you know, yellow page ads that used to be. And so then the second book, I had a management consultant. He says, you're working too much. I want you to do something fun. And so I wrote the book. I went up to Tahoe and spent a week and wrote the book, making a list and checking it twice, what singles need to know.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
So if you ever want to know what somebody's going to be like in a relationship, take them to Baskin and Robbins and see what ice cream they order. And if they order vanilla, don't ever expect any surprises.
Yep.
So this whole book is just about the choices that people make and how you can predict how they'll be in a relationship. Like if a guy drives a red sports car, don't ever expect the relationship to be about you. It's always going to be about him.
There are signs.
Yeah, there are signs. We just have to follow them. So then the third book, I was speaking at this event for the outplacement people. This was like the 3rd year or 4th year that I was there. And I got up and spoke and not one person laughed. Everybody sat there with their arms folded, their legs crossed. Nobody responded. And at the end, I said to Gary, the organizer, I said, what did I do wrong? I couldn't get anybody to even react to me. He goes, oh, I should have told you they're all ex-convicts this year. Gary, do you think I would have been talking to them like they were working at Pac Bell and AT&T and Hewlett Packard if I'd known they'd all been ex-convicts?
Oh, well, that would be quite the experience.
So these 2 young men came up and talked to me afterwards. One had been working at Hewlett Packard and got laid off and couldn't pay his child support. And the DA was running for re-election. And so he prosecuted him and put him in prison for 2 years for not paying his child support. Like that did any good? And then robbed his son of seeing him for 2 years. And the son was 3 years old. And then imagine him trying to get another job in computers when he's been in prison. There's no way he could have managed to compete with another job. And so I spent 3 years doing this research book on how people could start their own business based on their innate skills and the skills that they have learned. So it's called Be Your Own Boss Guide. And it's actually in 16 prisons now. And it's also Dave Mason has a training facility for veterans that have returned. And so it's in DC at the ships where they're using these training programs there to get people to focus on what they can do to have their own business and not have to compete for jobs. But what I found is that people can start a business for $2,000, but earn as much as $50,000 a year or more based on the style of marketing and things that I came up with over the 20 years of working with entrepreneurs. And then my sixth book is actually the Create Your Own Reality, which was dedicated to my brother after him having colon cancer. And instead of 6 months, we got 10 years because of the things that I had learned. Have you ever wondered, or has it ever crossed your mind that we are dealing with the same issues that they dealt with back in Socrates' time? Famine, family stress, anger. And it's like, why haven't we learned, one generation to another?
Gosh.
So it's just been kind of a wild ride. My 11th book is actually growing into leadership. So I've had to go from the entrepreneur mindset into now I'll be the CEO of a company that has 23,000 employees just in Belize. I mean, that's a big shift in mindset. So it's like, how do you do that gracefully? And so that's the thing. One of my favorite books is called About Face. So I can look at your face and I know that you're logical because that's the flatness of your forehead. And the bottom lip is slightly larger than the upper lip, which means you're really good at articulating, right? So you're a good speaker. You have the great understanding of how to make a point so other people know, what they need to know. And based on your face, this was done during Socrates' time, but a judge in 1935 made this famous where he could look at somebody presented to him in court and he had a 95% accuracy rate of predicting whether they were guilty or not guilty. And there's traits in your face that actually tell if you're speaking your truth or saying things that people need to hear. And there's a big difference. So
oh my gosh.
I automatically change my conversation presentation to the person that I'm talking with based on their face structure. And then I was, for 20 years, trying to figure out how not to be responsive to the way I was raised with all of the abuses and the anger and the frustration. And so I kept taking these classes and I finally came up with this program. It started from Network Chiropractic and it's called Neuro-Emotional Anti-Sabotage Technique. And in 1 hour, I can completely remove the negative emotions that anyone has ever been exposed to. So imagine the right side of your face is slightly larger than the left side of your face, which means the right side is controlled by your left brain. Your left brain is paternal. So the relationship you had with your father before you were 7 is not what you needed. Didn't make it wrong. It's just not what you needed. And in 1 hour, your face would be perfectly balanced, left and right, which means you wouldn't have the typical emotions that you would have based on men doing something that was similar to what your father did or didn't do.
Oh, interesting. Oh my gosh.
So my books are like 360 degrees.
which makes you that much more interesting. I've so enjoyed this conversation. You were
Thank
amazing.
you, Sue.
And actually,
Thank
we got
you.
Helene joining us here as well. I want to give a chance for you
Yeah.
guys to say hello because Helene's amazing too. So this is perfect. Come on in, say
Looking
hi,
at all
Helene.
that stuff in the background, it's wonderful.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, Sue. Nice
Hi,
to meet
Elaine.
you.
Great to
Yeah,
meet you.
thank you. I'm sorry I came in a little late, but I was involved in some meetings and I got to get on. I get on, and I'm sorry I missed your story because you looked and the way Sue says, when Sue says she's excited, she's excited. So you must be an amazing lady, and I would love to have the
Thank you.
opportunity for us to connect if possible. Where are you from?
I'm in New Orleans, but I'm from San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, okay. You're in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that tells me I love New Orleans.
It's a
There's
fun place.
it's a great place. I mean, I haven't been there in years, but when I was in dieting, I used to love going and having a beignet and the coffee. Oh my God, that's the best, the best, the best. Very messy, full of sugar, but so delicious.
Who cares? You only live once.
Right? Exactly. And all the cute shops and such history
Oh,
there.
I love it. You know, the shops, floor to ceiling, if you've never been, Sue, they're dedicated to Mardi Gras.
Totally.
Amazing.
When I was with my girlfriends, we went there during actually wound up being Super Bowl. I forgot it was I believe it wound up being when with the New Orleans Saints wound up Super Bowl, and it was last minute notice. It was like they became so we were there during the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And there, everybody's raising their shirt. They have the parades and, the parades literally cheering, throwing all the necklaces and all over the place. Well, I mean, all these girls are lifting up their, and I'm going, I'm not going to, it's like the energy is amazing there. But I wound up with bags of necklaces, and I did not lift my shirt up, I have to say.
Good for you.
How many
Well-
necklaces do you own, Sharon?
You haven't even tried to get one.
But
I
don't
just
just
moved
living
here.
there though. Oh my gosh, with all
No,
the
I moved here in March. So I was in Tennessee for 5 months, and then I was 3.5 years in Houston. And then this is the 92nd place I've lived in since 2015. So
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh.
kind of
so
roaming
you're a
around
mover
the
and
country.
shaker then, huh?
How
Well,
awesome.
I up until 2019, I was told where I had to go because of the group that I managed, which was a foreign currency group, and I was carrying around trillions of dollars worth of currency, and the people who I helped me organize it said, "Well, they know where you are. You've got to move now," and they give me like sometimes a day notice, but sometimes
Oh
they
my
call
God,
me
you
in the
lived a
morning.
dangerous life then.
It was not fun.
So wait a second. So
Very unique.
you were a concierge, kind of like a foreign currency concierge in a way, kind of.
Well, in a way, if you think about it like that, but I got really upset when I found out that people were told to buy the Zimbabwe Zim, and then after they bought it, they were told that they couldn't exchange it during the global currency reset, which hasn't happened yet, unless they were in a group. So I look at things that are a problem, and immediately I jumped in and made a group. So all these people could be in a group and still have resources. So
Wow.
because I did that, imagine there were, 200 people and some had 400, 200, 10, 1. But out of all these people, it was trillions of dollars worth of currency at the exchange rate. And so they would watch over me and they'd say, okay, too many people know where you are. You've got to move now. So I moved from the West Coast to Oklahoma to, let me see, where did I go from Oklahoma? Right outside of Chicago, Illinois. And then from there to Tennessee, to Florida, Georgia, DC, back to California. And it's just been crazy, absolutely crazy. And I've been here 5 months now. So I missed Mardi Gras.
Wow.
Came here the month after Mardi Gras.
Wow.
Will you be there long enough to
Interesting.
enjoy it this year?
No, I hope not. My goal is to be in Belize building my school.
Perfect.
So as soon as the global currency reset happens or the prosperity package funding shows up, then I'm off to Belize to get started on taking the kids off the streets.
Awesome.
So Helene, what do you do?
Huh. I am a matchmaker for businesses.
Aha.
We
But
were
what do I
talking a bit
really-
about nonprofit TV earlier, so she definitely has a foot in the door with nonprofit TV as well.
Yeah, so that's how I was just starting, but I was just going to go into that. In fact, I am actually going to share my link. I am the Community Partnership Director for Nonprofit TV Las Vegas. And I just put my link in here. And did I put it? Oh, or no, I did it. Okay, I didn't do it correctly. Now I'm doing it. I send it to Mary Ann. Today's Mary Ann's birthday, so I wish her a happy birthday in the link. And I have a special birthday present for her that I sent her in her private, but she didn't respond, but that's okay. So,
It was at Denny's, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
oh, and
They're celebrating.
and nonprofit TV is in the Denny she was in.
Exactly.
Yeah, she
Because
shows.
so what does nonprofit TV do? It actually helps nonprofits be seen. They get free airtime. And what we're doing is we're going to be launching all over the United States. And right now we're focusing on Las Vegas. And I am here to help it happen. So it gives nonprofits a voice to, I mean, how many people would love to be on TV?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing when you're in podcasting it's important, but it's totally different viewers. You're exposing yourself to true viewers, on TV. Not that they're not true here. It's a different audience. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get a lot more, eye contact on television, because with podcasts, you're hoping people will share. You're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, but everybody watches TV, at least whoever watches TV. So we're on nonprofit TV, and we're looking for venues right now. Could be restaurants, waiting rooms. I am actually thinking about maybe
Airports.
I don't know about airports. You know why? Because airports, people aren't staying long enough and you can't hear. We want
Well,
them
you have
to
to spend like an hour waiting for your flight.
Okay, that's an option. So who do we talk to? I'm looking for people to help us get out there. Really. I am looking for venues right now to want to be part of this phenomenal program.
Yeah.
This is becoming a partnership to help the community, to help the nonprofits to be heard and seen. In fact, I was talking to Kurt before, and not only am I with Nonprofit TV, but I'm also part of the Las Vegas TV network as well. So we're working together. We're basically collaborating together, because what Nonprofit TV does, we can even enhance it a little more by some of the services that Las Vegas Television Network does as well. So I'm connecting some great options together. And one of the things I want to do is a telethon, nonprofit telethon, and getting some celebrities to help it. And the nonprofit would have a really, great way to raise funding. So this could be a great thing for nonprofits. So, many nonprofits, I am finding out, last week I've been doing networking events, and one of the nonprofits told me that they spend like $5,000 in having someone market them so they could raise money. That's a lot of money. They could get their exposure right here on Nonprofit TV. And if they want some good exposure or good writing or whatever, I could have them, I could offer them the services from also the Las Vegas TV network, or even Sue, and help them. I mean, there's so many different ways, but a lot of nonprofits are not aware of what's really out there. There's a
Right.
lot of people out that are just trying to, claw into taking advantage, which kind of like amazes me. So,
Yeah.
and how does nonprofit TV help businesses? We're looking for businesses that would like to be sponsors. And that's what you call cause marketing. They're marketing for a cause. And with us starting minimum at 100 venues, that's minimum. They're going to be able to be seen all over the place. So it's great for the business owners because they're also supporting the cause or supporting the nonprofit. But right now, I'm looking right now for venues. So who do you know in Vegas that might be interested?
I actually know Maria No, who has her own TV show with her husband
Who
in
do you
Las
know?
Vegas. Maria No, and her show was all about interviewing movie stars.
Oh. Hmm.
Sounds like a great
we could
connection.
maybe
Yeah,
maybe you could
really,
create an
really good.
introduction because they might be someone we would be interested in
Yeah.
for
Absolutely.
the telethon.
And I just requested to have a connection with you on LinkedIn so I can introduce you.
Oh my God, Sharon, virtual
very
hug to
proactive.
all.
I'm
That'd
very
be
proactive. Yeah,
that'd
and
be
then
great.
I'm trying to remember her name, but I met another woman who does this program. It's about smiles, and she's like huge in Las Vegas, trying to get people to focus more on the happy side of life. But it's huge. I was like,
Are you sure
what?
it's not me? It's all about, you know what? I was telling Sue, I got the domain, The Power of Hello. Saying hello, just to make things, I know Barry Shore, who's the ambassador of Joy. And in fact, I introduced Marianne
Say that name again, Ambassador Joy. What is her name?
Barry Shore.
Well,
His name. Yeah.
sounds
He's the ambassador
similar,
of
but
joy.
Joy, yes.
yeah.
He's got an amazing story in itself. I mean, how many years ago was it? 20 years ago. 20 years ago, he woke up healthy, fine, no worries. That evening, they had to rush him to the hospital. He wound up totally paralyzed, quadriplegic, out of nowhere. He has this very, very rare disease. It's GBS, and it affected him. He was in the hospital for 144 days, and he was then bedridden. Well, in bed. When he got home, he was in bed for 2 years, literally.
Oh gosh.
He is walking. He can't walk upstairs. While he was home, you're sharing his screen right now?
Gotta bring him up.
Awesome, there he is. He's the yay maker, and he's an oy vey kind of guy too, like me. Oy vey, Jewish, oy, oy, oy. But you know what? You don't hear him oying about his conflict, his pain. He's about joy, being thankful and blessed for what you have. He made an incredible recovery. He's got this wonderful man who's his driver who takes him places. It was 108 degrees yesterday. He was, or the other day, and he was out by the pool at the recreation center showing everybody he's swimming. It's 108 degrees here. And, his demeanor is amazing. So he's truly all about joy. Wow, he met Oprah Winfrey, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Now, I didn't know that. Yeah, he swims 2 miles a day.
Fantastic.
So this is a man that should be celebrated. Totally. And I actually am going to be working on after I get my mission, I've got some missions to accomplish right now. But I'm creating the Bubby Show. And what's the Bubby Show? It's about giving. When people are around a Bubby or grandma, what does that represent to you? love, unconditional,
Yes.
creating I'm going to be having a table. I'm inviting people that want to share their story, because everybody has a story, but some stories are really remarkable. And it's amazing how, I mean, Sue interviews some amazing people. We get to, and I'm looking as well. When I meet people that are truly amazing, I go, you got to come on our show and you got to speak because you're amazing. And it's all about celebrating people, talking about the different cultures, how one culture might celebrate holidays different than another culture. But one of the things that I'm very passionate about is recognizing people. And I put it out there. Let's have let's see, who would like to do a competition for this week? Let's create hello. Who wants to do, in fact, Emily was part of that. And I said, how many of you can go up to at least 5 people you don't know in one day? Just say hi to them. See what the reaction you're going to do. One hello, one smile could make a change for somebody's life. They might have had a bad day in the morning. They might have woken up feeling depressed. Just basically saying hi, recognizing somebody could just change somebody or just get them out of their funk. How many times have you been in a funk, Sharon?
Never.
I love that.
Never. I live in a different place because of the way I was raised was so suppressive that when I got out of there, I never went back there.
You and I are the same.
So when I was teaching entrepreneur skills in the San Francisco Bay Area, I was walking down the street in Walnut Creek, and this woman was approaching me, and I looked at her and smiled, and I said, "Hi, how you doing?" And she passed me, and then she turned around and she grabbed my shoulder and she said, "I wanted to thank you. You're the only person who has ever said hello to me, ever, on the street."
See?
Wow.
The only person. So I was saying earlier, because of the Play It Forward, I started doing random acts of kindness.
Mhm.
And so every time I leave, if I go outside, I don't have a car, so I don't go out very often. But when I leave the house to go to the grocery store or whatever, I always make it a point of finding one person I can do a random act of kindness. And this one day, this man was looking for his car. And I said, and he couldn't find it. It was just ridiculous in a grocery parking lot. And he said, "I know I parked it here." And I said, "Well, it's not here. So you must have come in a different entrance." And he goes, "No, it was here." I said, "So let's take your key fob and we'll find it." So I walked with him through the parking lot until we actually found it. And he looked at his car and he goes, "I know I didn't park it here." He said, "But how is it that you would take your time and help me find my car?" He said, "I was so flabbergasted. I thought somebody stole my car and I wasn't even going to look."
Wow.
You know what? It happens. I could understand it because there are times. That's why when I go anywhere that there's a parking lot, I like to park right near the elevator because it's
Yeah.
so easy to lose your car. You know, it really is.
I would make myself park at the same place, right? So you don't park here and then over there and then over there. I always parked at the same place and it helped.
If you could find it, if it's available when you come
Yeah.
to go there, you
Even
know?
if I had to walk, the whole length of the parking lot to get to the front door, I would park under the trees, under the shade, at the same place.
So you know your place.
Yeah,
You know your place, Sharon.
I do.
So,
Wonderful.
so,
Well, and I know we are kind
Anyway.
of getting to the end here. I just want to take a moment and do you guys have any last thoughts you want to share before we close up for the day? Because what a conversation. This has been
Sure
this
covered a lot.
flew.
we
So,
wanted to do it again.
Anticipated that I could be here for 2 hours, so thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
amazing. Helene, I want to pass it to you real quick here. Any last thoughts you want to share?
I just want to share with everyone that just know that one random hello could lead to life-changing events. You know, it's all about trust. And if you never know who you might meet, they might become your best friend.
Right.
So it's so important just to be open to explore, see what's out there, because you never know what you're going to find. And so many people are stuck in the same place. Just get out there and go past your boundaries. So no, life is a blessing, and I'm so grateful every day. I'm so thankful for what I have. And yeah, thank you. And I'm appreciate for you and Kurt, because without both of you, I wouldn't be in doing half the things I'm doing. In fact, I've got a great full plate right now. My plate is so full right now, but I still always will make room. I always have room for something new.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much, Helene. Really appreciate you being here and all the things you're doing. And
Thank you.
Sharon, I'm going to pass it back to you again here. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with today?
So based on my 5th book, Create Your Own Reality, if your life isn't working for you today, it's up to you to change it day by day.
That's right.
And if you can imagine a life that's better, then you can achieve it just by making small steps every
Right.
single day and hanging out with people who are making the difference in their life. If
Those
people are dragging you down, stop hanging out with those people. Be
I
around
agree.
people who are positive and motivated. And, I learned that from T. Harv Eker. He said, everyone that you hang out with, 2 people make more money than you and 2 people make less money than you. So the people who didn't make as much money as me, I stopped hanging out with them on a regular basis and got 2 more people who made twice as much money as I did. And what a difference when you put yourself in that perspective, is elevating yourself to where you want to be. And if you want to be the kind of person who does nothing but go home and put your feet up and watch TV, that's fine. But if you're not happy with your life, change it.
I agree with you so much. It's so true. I mean, really, we need to have more discussions about this. You and I could probably
Talk
have
forever.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure having you guys here. And I'm going to give one more shout out to our birthday girl, Marianne of Waikiki. Thank you so much
Happy
for being here and
birthday.
sharing your birthday with us. Oh, I hope the day continues to be amazing. And also thank you. We had Dr. Harvey on here and Olga as well. Such a conversation. Oh my gosh. This has been truly amazing for all of us here with World of Ability Podcast Network, for all the great things you guys all do for us and for others. As always, we thank you.
Thank